welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be chatting about 10 habits that I wish I started sooner or my business. Some of this I'm still working on, so this is going to be a video as like a reminder to myself as well. All the things that I feel like are important for me and my business that I wish I started sooner and that I really want to improve moving forward. I'm Bia, I'm an illustrator from Portugal and I have a stationery shop. I've been full-time with my shop and my business for 4 years now. If you are feeling a little bit out of place and a little bit lost, I hope these 10 tips will help you along the way. Let's get into it. The first thing that I wish I started doing sooner is not be afraid of trying different things. A lot of the times I would get to the point, especially on my creative journey, where I would feel stuck and not feel as motivated. And I would get into this thing of not creating at all, especially with illustration and stuff. We get so focused on our own style and how we do things a certain way, not only for ourselves, but also with a concern that people will not recognize our style or something like that. Once I opened up to try new techniques, the ways of doing my illustrations or editing my videos, the things you were doing before might not even work for you. And if you don't try different things, you're not going to get into the swing of things and you're never going to realize what works for you and your business. As a business, it's also really important to try to reinvent ourselves from time to time. For this YouTube channel, when I started out, do only studio vlogs, I would probably not grow as much as I did. So once I started to experiment new things, new type of content, and I started to do more tutorials, more sit-down videos like this one you're seeing right now, it's when I noticed that my channel will start to grow. Trying new things, trying different color palettes, trying new products, it's what keeps me and my audience more engaged to my shop. I think people will look at what you're doing and always try to look what you're doing next. They are also curious of what things are you going to have like for your shop or new products or a new video, and that I think will keep people engaged with you and everything else. So don't be afraid to try different things. This is a big one, and this one I wish I started immediately, but I only started in the beginning of this year to organize my finances a little bit better. So whenever I would get to the end of the month, or I would need to organize taxes, or I will need to organize everything to do all the legal bits that you need to do when having a business, I would be super deorganized because I wasn't keeping track of my expenses, of what I was earning, of the payments that I have done. It was a huge mess. At the beginning of this year, I decided I really need to change that because every time I have to do something, I get super anxious, and it takes me like 3 times the time to do something that might be so simple. I downloaded a template on Etsy where I organize basically everything. I'm going to leave the link for the one that I use in the description if you want to check that out. Basically, I log in all the expenses, all the earnings, and I can divide expenses by bills, shipping, product supplies, shipping supplies, conventions, market table. I have all of these different ways to track my expenses, and this way I know where I'm putting my money in and where I'm investing more, and also where I'm spending more. And this way I can also track my income. I can also regulate where I want to put more of my focus on. And not only that, all of those legal bits become so much easier. I really advise you to do this sooner rather than later. One of the things that can be the most overwhelming when you run your own business and you are just one person doing all of these jobs, it can feel very overwhelming to look at your to-do list and to see everything that you have to be doing. It's all over the place and you don't even know where to start. I would be jumping from task to task, like
I would need to make a reel, and then I need to make a post, and then I stop and make a post on Instagram, and I write the post, and then I forget what I was supposed to be doing, and then I'm making stickers, but at the same time I'm packing orders, and at the same time I'm
doing all of these things at the same time. So I start to do batches of things that I have to do, like okay, now I'm going to take photos, so I'm going to spend all of morning taking photos instead of like making a product and take a photo, making another product and take another photo. I do batches of tasks. Instead of just doing one thing at a time, I'm batching all the type of things that I can be doing within that task, if it makes sense. We already have to do all of these things, and making it hard doesn't mean that it's better. There's all of these small changes that you can do that is going to make your life so much easier. And why are we putting all of this time into a task that we can make in a lot less time and a lot less easier for ourselves, you know? It's a big one and I feel so dumb. If you know, I do have a Patreon, but I also have a membership on my website, and I basically post the same content that I post on Patreon, I post on my website as well, and I have to send out emails like Patreon. Whenever you make a post, they send out an automatic email for the people that are on that tier, but for my website I have to do that manually. There's a way to do it automatically, but it wasn't working okay, so I do it manually, and I use MailChimp for this, using it for more than a year. So I've been paying for MailChimp for more than a year, and if you do email marketing, you know these platforms are not cheap. And I was basically not taking advantage of it. Every week I would put on my to-do list, send newsletter. The next week, I will put it again on my to-do list, send newsletter. And this week, after week, after week, after week, wasn't on the top of my priorities. Right now, it's a habit that I try to incorporate in all my weeks, or at least every 2 weeks. If I can't find the time, if I have markets, if I have a busier schedule, I try to send my newsletters every 2 weeks. And this is something that I tell myself that I can't miss the deadline. This started to be even more important because, as we know, social media is more and more unpredictable. You have to be on top of trends, you have to create all of this content just to stay on top of things, and felt like it was the time to put the effort into this because it is your audience. They are signing up for your newsletter is because they are interested into knowing what you are doing, into knowing what's going on in your shop and all of that. Of course, emails can still go to the spam folder, but it's a lot more likely that those people that have interest in what you're doing are going to see your content. Not only that, but it can be so personalized. I can send specific campaigns to certain people that got specific products on the past. I can send discount codes. I can send all of these things. Really recommend that you start building your email list today. As a small business, it's really important to have several income streams. Even in slower months where my shop is a little bit slower, I still have YouTube, I still have wholesale, I still have all of these things that I can rely on. I think it's really important to keep doing your research on how to improve these income streams. This can be learning about SEO, not only for your shop, for your website, but also for Etsy, for YouTube, and really look into those things and try to figure out ways how to improve them. This one might sound very basic, but at least for me, it was a really important part of staying organized, and is to improve my scheduling and my planning and how I do it. So in the beginning of this year, I decided that I didn't want to have year goals. It sounds so nice to, get to the end of the year and look back and see that if you did those goals. But the truth is, when it came to like February or March, I already forgot about what I want to do, and I would look back and then feel sad because I didn't do anything that I had planned, or it will be too overwhelming and I kept postponing things because it's like, oh, it's still June, I still have 6 months left, so it's fine. And I really didn't plan it. I would just, in January, I would make a list of all the things that I want to do in that year, but I didn't really plan it because 12 months just seems so overwhelming and you don't know how your schedule is going to be, especially if you're like me, if you do conventions, if you do markets, you don't really know when it's going to be the busier months or not, when you're going to have time, if you're going to get sick. What I started to do, and has been so helpful, I started to plan every 3 to 4 months. Now it's September, and only now in September I basically planned for the last 3 months of the year. It feels a lot more tangible, it feels a lot more possible to do these things because I already know when are the weekends that I'm more busy, when I have to do certain markets, certain conventions, when I want to have vacations, because this has always been something that was really hard for me to schedule as well, because I would never know. And now planning 3 to 4 months ahead only instead of a year makes all of these things so much easier. And yeah, really excited about that. I also feel that it's really important to try new scheduling tools and materials. I tried Notion and it really changed how I do things, and I felt so much more organized with it. Basically use it to map out my calendar, like my whole calendar with events and stuff like that, my content calendar, my to-do lists, my events, all the lists of things that I want to do in the future, of ideas, of everything. And I have all of these different folders and things, and it feels so much more organized because I don't have a notebook for this, a notebook for that. I can be here in the studio, or I can be away, or I can be at home, and I have all of these lists and my calendars and my to-do lists on my phone, on my computer. Leave my planner here in the studio, I don't feel totally lost. And this way I wanted to start something that I've been meaning to start since forever, and this is something that I started more recently, and I wish I started sooner. It's to have a content calendar. I'm going to leave here the content calendar that I have right now. When I go to Notion calendar, it connects to my event calendar and everything else, so I can keep track of everything and I can visualize what I need to do, which I felt it's the thing that it's really important for me and really helps me. So yeah, I feel so organized now. It's so nice. I wish I started attending events sooner as well. Not only conventions and markets and things focused on the shop and work and all of that, but also workshops and video calls with creatives. The ones that I've been participating the most is the ones on Coco Natasha Patreon. I'm also going to leave a link in the description for that. I really loved it. It's weekly, it's 1 hour, and I think it's really important to be in contact with other creatives. It's really important to share ideas, talk to them, and create connections, because this job can feel very lonely. We are mostly alone. Most of us are alone whole day if you are freelancing. I think it's really motivated, inspirational, and so nice. Okay, embracing my freelance life, it has been something that I only think I starting to realize, and I start to actively try to incorporate that into my mindset once I started therapy. I realized that I was constantly on this thing of wanting to do things and more things and being productive. I'm trying to enjoy the flexibility of what I do, creating my own schedule and not being caught up on this thing that I have to be working all the time. Just because everyone on a normal job starts at 9 doesn't mean I have to start at 9. I can start at 10 because my brain doesn't work in the morning. You're realizing that you basically have free will and that you can have breaks and you can just rest if you want. Yesterday I was feeling tired and I told my boyfriend, oh, I wish I stayed home today. And he was like, then why don't you stay at home? And I was like, yeah. Of course, it's really important to establish a routine, and I really figured out that I need a routine to be more motivated and inspired, but I feel like it's really also important to not get stuck on that routine. All this made me feel so much more creative and motivated to, when I come to work, embrace it and enjoy it even more. Research. I feel, and I came to the realization more and more, that doing the research is sometimes even more important than doing the work itself, and it's all about quality over quantity. I feel like it's not only about creating the content, creating products, put them on your shop, it's also about doing research on Instagram and seeing what other small businesses are posting and what's working, searching on YouTube, see what people are talking about, what thumbnails are working. I think it really helps me to stay informed and also be more considerate of the next steps that I want to take in my shop, on my content, and all of these things. Not only looking into the content specifically, but also learning new skills, like learn about SEO and how that can improve your shop, your website, your content, your YouTube. Learn marketing and maybe search into how to do market with Pinterest. So many things that we can look and improve our business little by little, and that we can be working and learning over time, that can change so much and really make your efforts pay off a lot more than they could if you just put it out there in the world, basically. And I say this, and I know it's easier said than done, because we are in constant overwhelm right now. Trends are super fast. Everything feels overwhelming. We feel like we have to be constantly creating and putting things out there and all of this. And I know it can feel very overwhelming, but for me, at least, I'm learning that as I said, quality, it's a lot better than quantity, and I feel like putting the work that I would be to create all of these things super fast just to put something out there, I feel like it's a lot more worth my time to do the research and then create with a different mindset. Of course, I always enjoy what I'm doing, but I feel like it feels a lot better knowing that I'm creating with a purpose and with all of this work that I've put before. The last thing that I've put on this list, and it's number 10, it's celebrating small wins. And I feel like this is so simple but so important. This used to be something that I would do so much more regularly when I was starting out. I ran out of battery, so I'm sorry if the lights or the angle changed a little bit. It came to a point that I had a lot of these thoughts and imposter syndrome and comparing myself with others and comparing myself with myself from the past, which can be as detrimental as it is to compare yourself with others. And I learned this the hard way, and I feel like it's so easy to get lost into these kind of things. And I feel like it's super easy to do this, but it's also super important to move forward and to celebrate the small wins as they are happening and keep track of them. And it's not bad to write on your journal, okay, today I had this and I had these sales and I have these things. And I think it's really important to embrace all of these things and make it a positive experience. I think it really helps you stay motivated and more positive. And looking back, you'll also have all of these things that you accomplished, and it's really nice to see it, because sometimes, again, it gets to the end of the year and we feel like we done nothing and we had all of these yearly goals that we didn't accomplish, and it feels very underwhelming. But in the middle of it, we did all of these incredible things that we didn't keep track because it was too small, or compared to others, it was nothing, that we forget all of these things that we did amazingly. So yeah, that's the last one. But I feel it's super simple, but super important. And that is it. Those are the 10 habits that I wish I started sooner on my business. I really hope this tips or ideas help you on your journey if you are starting out, or if you are feeling a bit stuck, or you just needed a little pick-me-up kind of video. Let me know in the comments which are the ones that you already do, which are the ones that you are trying to focus, or any ideas that you think that I forgotten. I had a lot more things to go on this list, so let me know in the comments if you would be interested of me doing a second part with another 10. Leave a like, don't forget to leave a comment. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Bye. And make more efficient. Oh my god.